Who's seen this image before? If you're in the 5D Empire, you have. We've done activations on it. Maybe you haven't yet. We're going to do it in September. So this is actually the threefold flame. It's a beautiful frequency, and I actually always happen to have this card with me in the car, and of course I brought it out today. It just sits there in the front of my little Tesla, and yeah, so it's the threefold flame. I have a beautiful personal connection with this frequency because when I first started dropping into my heart and doing some really profound meditations, that image actually came to me. I'd never seen it before, never heard about it, and I just saw this flame in my meditation, and it had the red, the blue, and the gold. And I was like, wow, like I didn't know what that was. I found out way later on that apparently it's a thing and other people have seen it too, you know. So I've started connecting in with this threefold flame. Anyway, so the three of us are on this trip, right? And at some point we sat down and I said, I feel like we're connecting with these Trinity energies. And so the three of us were sitting on the floor and I had this crystal. In fact, Mandy had gifted me a crystal. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. And I just said to these two, I said, I feel like between the three of us, it's like we are anchoring those energies. And so Martin at the time was wearing, I think he had blue top and blue shoes. And I was like, well, he's obviously anchoring the blue. And I turned around to Mandy and I said, what color do you feel like you're anchoring right now? And it's funny because, you know, me being her mentor, she kind of was, she didn't want to say she was anchoring the gold because she's like, the gold is a special one. It should be Isha. And I was like, no, Mandy, I think you're anchoring gold and I'm anchoring the pink one at the moment. And then she pulls out this gold necklace that she just happened to put on that day and was like, oh, I just felt to wear this, right? And so we're sitting around just, you know, doing this meditation near some olive trees. And then we're just, you know, feeling that energy flow. Anyway, fast forward to the next day. I decided to take her to the Pinnacles, and that's, again, it's a very it's like a famous location in Western Australia. It's quite popular. It's like touristy sort of thing. It's one of these places on the world where you have these giant rocks, and it's all natural formation. It's kind of like, you know, stalagmites or stalactites in a cave, but out in the desert, right? And West Australia is one of the few places where you can see this. Anyway, see this crystal here? So after the last event, Mandy actually went with some of the girls. She met some girls at the event and, you know, they became buddies. And these two girls, they work at a crystal shop in Western Australia. And so they said to Mandy, we'll pick you up, we'll take you to the crystal shop and we can, you know, do some shopping. And so they picked her up from the city. They took her all the way to the shop and she bought a bunch of crystals. She got, you know, some for her friends, some for her family, some for, you know, her co-workers, et cetera, et cetera. And then she gifted me this one. So this is actually it's a flower agate. And then she bought these two for herself. Now, when we went to the Pinnacles, she'd packed most of the crystals away. I had my one crystal with me that she'd gifted me, and she just happened to have these two on her. And so we're just, you know, we're walking around the Pinnacles and having a great time, and then I come across this beautiful looking rock that has exactly 3 ledges on it. And I just took my crystal, I just plonked it down. And I was like, oh, this just feels like it wants to be there. And then Mandy pulls out her 2 crystals and plonks them down. And then we realize, I was like, do you see we just made like a threefold flame? Like that's blue, that's got a peach gold to it, and that's got a red energy. And we were just kind of like, wow, we must be really in that flow, right? Story gets even better. So we finished doing our little crystal activation. Everyone's having a great time. And then, you know, it gets to 3:33 p.m. We do whatever, you know, energy grid work that we've done. And then the whole thing felt kind of complete. Right? And we also had like a 2-hour drive home. So like, let's go back. As we're walking back towards our car, that was my car there, we saw a red, a blue, and a yellow car. Like, how do you make that stuff up? Can you feel like how many threads of magic have to come together to create that experience in that moment? Pretty amazing, right? And so this is the thing. It's like, you know, all the other coaches out there, they're all like profit and this and that. And I'm like, but guys, feel the flow. Like this is the magic that I live for. Being in the right place at the right time with the perfect alignments, the perfect energies, not even knowing. You know, a lot of people, they just get so all up in their heads when it comes to doing this stuff. Like, you know, I don't keep track of when the moon cycles are or when the certain dates are. I forget gateways all the time, like all the time, you know. But somehow, some way or another, I'm just always in flow,